Brew Crew. Our business and organization of the week is brought to you by our special guest, Lawrence Henderson. Lawrence is the owner and operator of many Ruby Soul Food locations throughout the south suburbs and the west side. They have even expanded to other states. The menu provides many delicious options like chicken, catfish, short ribs, and many sides to choose from. Are you guys having an event but don't want to cook? Call Ruby's. They even offer catering. The Riverdale location now features breakfast items like shrimp and grits. You can even stay a while and check out a Bears game. While Ruby Soul Food will feed your soul, Kingdom Citizens International Ministries will feed your spirit. Pastor Lawrence Henderson is the lead pastor of KCI Ministries, located at 325 South California in Chicago. They have 8 a.m. Sunday service as well as Thursday midweek service at 7 p.m. You don't want to miss it. Check out our business or organization of the week. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome to episode number 17. Can you guys believe it? We're 17.
We're 17 again. What's brewing, sis?
I'm Shelly.
I'm Bianca.
And I'm Deonna. And here we come together to serve the brew.
Serving?
And serve it up. So, guys, last episode.
Oh, what happened on last episode?
Lots of things happened. So we discussed Love is Blind,
yes.
Or is it,
or not. That was a fun episode.
Yeah, I think we came to the consensus that love is a choice and not necessarily blind.
Oh, that's interesting. Look. Yeah, love is definitely a choice. Choose love, though.
Yeah.
If you choose it.
Choose love.
I like that. It is a choice.
Yeah, so that was really fun to talk about in that show, too.
Mm-hmm.
And
it brought up a lot of old stuff too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a lot of dates that I've been on in the past. You know, I was thinking too about like the short thing. I'm like, I think I've seen, like, I did go out on a date with this guy one time, and he had a pillow also. Yeah, there was a pillow there. So
we must make some disclaimers for this episode. There's nothing wrong with people who sit on pillows in the car. And also, rest in peace to the Queen.
Yes, Queen
Elizabeth.
Absolutely.
And long live Queen Latifah.
Yes.
Long live Queen Latifah.
You're not too
So sorry. You're not too but, so this episode, we are coming together to discuss change.
Yes.
So change could be many things, changing your life, your relationship, your finances, just change in general. And it's a good topic because we're in that season right now where we're changing from summer to fall. Have you guys done any change things recently?
I mean, for me, come back to me.
Well, I'll kick it off. So
Okay.
I recently cleaned out my garage. So I'm going to get rid of all the clutter. And then that started me going through things in here. I'm just going to change around some things in here. I feel like once I declutter, it kind of declutters my mind, my spirit, and makes me able to function a little bit better. So
yeah,
I think that's a good thing for if you're into it, to definitely declutter and change your spirit that way.
Yeah, I remember when you called me last week and you said that you were cleaning your I called you or whatever, right? When you were cleaning your garage, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do something too. I'm gonna throw some stuff away. And throwing things away is so freeing. It just clears the mind. But one thing that I did do to change is I joined a cycling class. So I want to get my health together and be a bad chick out here. So I decided to start my transformation process, of which that I am removing and taking, starting to get my workout back on.
Okay, what about you, Deonna?
Well, one change that has happened just in my household in general, my oldest son and my nephew, they moved out, got their own place, and I'm like changing the bedroom into an office and getting rid of some stuff. My husband nearly gave them everything in our house to get them set up, but some stuff I was resistant to, no, they can go get their own stuff. Yeah, but I'm like, okay, well, if he gives them all our stuff, I guess that's a reason for me to shop for new stuff.
Yes.
Right. So we have a special guest this week.
Yes, one we've been waiting on.
Very much so waiting on. Without further ado, we are going to bring up, should we call him Pastor Lowe, Pastor Henderson?
I got a few different names
Hi, Lawrence. How are you today?
Well, I'm doing great. As Shelly is expecting me to say, if I was doing any better, I would scare myself.
Yes, I was definitely expecting you to say. See, if you don't say that, I'll worry.
Right.
Well, there's no need to worry. I am doing amazing this morning. It is a beautiful day, and I am excited to be on this podcast to talk about change, and I'm just happy to be with you guys today.
Yes, we are so glad that you are here.
Yes.
You have been.
Well, listen, I am here. I'm present.
We might need you to pull over and get somebody's good Wi-Fi.
I'm about to pull over. If you give me 2 minutes, I'll be pulling over.
Okay, perfect. Yes, and we want you to drive safe. I see you and get my message about your seatbelt.
I actually did. I just sometimes forgets, but duty calls.
So when we get started, we always try to start with some icebreakers. So a question to get the party going. So let's start with this. One thing that you would like to do within the next year that you have not done before.
One thing I would like to do, be a billionaire. I would love that.
Never been a billionaire before.
I've never had $1 billion before, and I think that would be something that really, 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 really makes me happy. But on a more calmer side, one thing that I would like to do within the next year, I love growth, right? And so there's somebody that the world knows that I've watched and learned from for years, but I've never seen them in person. And I was going to go see them this year, November 3rd through the 6th. And but the tickets are sold out already when I found out about it. But Tony Robbins, he has this event called Date with Destiny. And so I would love to be in a room with that type of energy with the world-renowned Tony Robbins. And that's one thing I would like to do within the next 12 months.
Okay. That's interesting. So I think for me, one would be to cut the ribbon and open our doors, but also an international travel trip. I haven't traveled. I've been to Mexico, but I don't really consider it international. I definitely want to travel internationally.
Okay. What's the question?
One thing you would like to do within the next year that you have not done before?
Oh, definitely open the business. I think becoming an entrepreneur the dream has more so changed to where I feel like this is my true destiny. This is where I really should be. And I think God has given me all these signs to say, keep moving, keep pushing forward to get there. So that cutting that ribbon, I think I'll be crying all day.
And she tried to call me the crybaby.
Right.
I have contained my cries. I try not to cry as often as I normally do, but you know.
So yeah, I would like to see us open up Cafe Coco Latte as well. But I think that's easy button. That's happening.
Yeah, that's happening. So
I also I need to take my trip to Kenya because I haven't done that yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think those two things.
That's good.
Okay.
The trip to Africa is big.
Yeah. All right. So where do you find inspirational motivation?
Well, there are so many. I mean, this generation, this age. As far as YouTube, as far as I have like some authors that I just love. Of course, I'm a life coach trainer, John Maxwell University. So, John has 81 books. You know what I mean? So I love to read his books. I'll throw some out there to you guys that you might want to take a look at a time. Books like the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Every entrepreneur should definitely read that book. My favorite top people like Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, John Maxwell, Les Brown, Deonna. And so I listen to podcasts. I listen to audios daily because I understand that growth is the only thing that makes tomorrow better. And because I'm excited, I'm motivated to grow because I know that growth is the only thing that'll make tomorrow better. So I find inspiration, audios, books, and then I love to watch people who are doing amazing things. Now in the Bible it actually says, "Follow those who through faith and patience inherit the promise." So I like to link up, follow, and watch people who are doing amazing things, and I try to learn because success leaves clues. And so
Yeah.
if you want to be successful and you want to do something great, all you got to do is just keep your eyes on people who are doing great things. And success has a way of leaving clues, dropping nuggets so that you can tap into them. And so I find inspiration from those type of people. And then people that I look up to that I've been watching for years. And I found myself very easily inspired by people who are doing amazing things.
That's fact. I think same thing for me. I'm inspired by others, so I get to see firsthand you like cutting ribbons every other
Yeah.
month. Lester is out here doing big things. Y'all are watching. We were watching your Thursday service on Thursday.
That Thursday service.
You got us in there hollering. So,
Yes.
we were checking that out. You get to see real life people who are examples, and I think that's a great thing and we want to be that at some point for other youth in Maywood to say, hey, this is us, this is Maywood, this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
We can inspire, other people from our area to do the same big things. But so
Absolutely.
that seeing real life people. Also, I watch podcasts, and you kind of got me watching. We just read this book. What's his name? Michael Todd. Yeah. So I watched some Michael Todd clips on YouTube.
Oh, he's great, man. That crazy faith.
Yeah.
I started the year off this year preaching crazy faith, and through prayer, I'm going to end this year preaching the same thing. So right after this prayer message I'm going right back to crazy faith.
I'm glad. I'm so glad.
I'm definitely going to swing by and check that out because I love it.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be fire.
that message, I think, was one thing that got us connected. And even before that, I think just for sure, like just reiterate what Bianca was saying. You are an example. So I'm surprised that you aren't one of your own motivation. Because you inspire and help so many other people, but watching a video of you just sit in your car and talk is so inspiring. So you've definitely become that in my life for me. So thank you. And I would definitely say, I think some of the motivation has to be like coming from yourself.
Yeah,
it has to self-motivation because when it's quiet and you're alone and you got, your internet ain't working, my internet, you gotta to kind of dive into yourself. So sometimes just like taking a ride by yourself and just, reminding yourself of things that you want to do, sometimes is my motivation.
All right.
I love that.
Likewise, I'm also motivated by watching others and seeing what other people are doing and being around amazing people, including Lawrence. I can remember back to when there was just one Ruby's. So to see the growth of the Ruby's franchise has been amazing. And just being a part of this thing we call life is motivation to me. There's so many, layers and aspects to it. I'm motivated and inspired by people young and old, the the pureness of a young person who's just like really, full steam ahead with no cares or worries. They haven't been, shaped by events in life, and they're just like optimistic about everything. Is inspirational to me.
Yeah.
As well as people who are more seasoned and, maybe getting closer to the final stages of life, but that still see the beauty of it and appreciate what the younger generation is doing. All those things are inspirational.
Definitely the younger generation. I want to add that too, because they just out here like, okay, I'm gonna figure out a revenue stream. Like my son is a gamer. He's like, he got ads now where he can monetize from it, and I'm like, okay, they're just gonna figure out some other stream of revenue that was not in our realm. You know what I mean? For us, it was like, okay, graduate, get a job, or go to college, get a job. They're like, okay,
stay there forever.
And stay there until you retire. So
right.
For them, they're like, nah, we're gonna do something else. I'm gonna do this. My son is like, he wants to get into real estate and do all these different things. And I'm like, yeah, well, let's do that. So I'm just coming along for the ride. So we're gonna get into change. Before we do that, let's introduce you to our audience. Tell us about yourself.
Oh, well, I mean, that's pretty easy. I'm kind of used to doing that. So, I'm a Pastor Lawrence Henderson, pastor church on Chicago's west side of Chicago. The west side is the best side. Kingdom Citizens International Ministries. I've been in ministry now for over 20 years, pastoring now for about 13 years in the city of Chicago. Entrepreneur. Have a entrepreneur background because of my dad. My real profession was in the produce business, to actually be honest. That's where I got my roots and my training from. But I've been in the restaurant business, the owner of Ruby Soul Food, Atlanta, Georgia, Tennessee, Jackson, Tennessee, and as well as here and the great state of Illinois in the south suburb, the city of Chicago. Looking to continue to expand aggressively, even looking right now into international location in Colombia, South America.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, so we're looking to do that as a big tourist place. And when I went over there, I go over there and I'm like, I love being over here, but I hate the food. And that's because I don't eat seafood. And so places like that, that's all they're selling is seafood. And I said, whenever there is a need, that's when you want to put, your business somewhere where there's a need. And I said, now I see all of these Americans over here, and Americans love my food. Looks like we need to put a Ruby's here.
There you go.
That makes sense.
Yeah, all the tourists. I mean, they have American people over here daily, and so owner of Ruby Soul Food, certified life coach and trainer through the John Maxwell University, and so I'm just an overall great, kind of nice guy. And I just love people, and my objective for life is to add value to people, encourage people, strengthen people, and help people get right in the center of their assignments, because everything you need in life is connected to your purpose. So even your provision is tied to your assignment. And so I like to help people to get smack in the center of their assignment, because that's their grace place. That's where you're going to win at. And that's the place where things are going to be easy for you. and your grace place, your assignment, your purpose, because you love doing what you do, and you're actually good at it. And then you become so good at it, people start paying you to do it. So I like to help people get into their grace place where life becomes easier. There's in the sports arena, because I love sports as well. Uh, there's a point where great athletes say there's a point in time in their career where the game slows down to them. They start to get a greater understanding of the game, and it becomes easier. And it's because they're in a grace place. So that's pretty much who I am.
Yeah. Well, this episode, Shelly mentioned your car side ministries and
I just gave it a name.
So this was actually brought on by one of the videos I watched. So
Okay.
you spoke about change, and I thought that was a very interesting topic because I think a lot of people can be very stuck in their ways. Like, I've been doing it
Sure.
this way my whole life. Why change now, right?
Absolutely.
So change is very, you need it to grow, basically.
Absolutely.
So how do you help people believe that change is necessary, or do you believe change is always necessary for growth?
Well, yeah, see, the thing is trying to get people, the idea of getting people to change is getting people to get a new revelation, getting people to see something differently. So there's a vast difference in conceding that change is inevitable and believing that change is necessary. And so you have a lot of people who they do believe in change, but they don't really believe change is necessary for them. It's, all of us would love for, if you just looked at your circle and people around, or even the world, everybody would love for everybody else to change. You know what I mean? You would love for your husband to change. Like, I wish he would stop doing that. We would love for our wives to change, our kids to change. We don't have a problem with change, with other people changing, but the idea of conceding that change is necessary for my life is where we have to get people to get to. So you have to get people to see the value in change. If they don't see the value in change, they're not most likely to move into the area of change. And so teachings like this is one of the things that help change people's paradigm, to give them a shift to see that change is necessary. Another favorite book that I love is As a Man Thinketh. James Allen writes in that book that people are anxious to change their circumstances, but they're not anxious to change themselves.
Come on now.
And so the idea of getting people to see that you want your circumstances to change, and everybody, if it was 1,000 people, on this podcast, and we said right now, how many of you want to change? How many of you guys want your life? How many of you want your finances to change? They're like, ooh, me. How many of you want your marriage to change? Ooh, me. How many of you want your children to change? Ooh, me. How many of you want to change?
Right.
You know what I mean? People are anxious to see the best of life, but they don't understand, in order to see the best in life, they got to present the best version of themselves. You know what I mean? And so the common denominator in things getting better for you is you getting better. The common denominator and your finances getting better is you becoming better in finances. You don't have to ever in life wish things were easier for you. You don't never in life have to wish that you had more. Instead of wishing things were easier, wish that you were better. Wish that you had more skill. Because with more skill and you becoming better, guess what? Things become better. And so that's the common denominator. So with teachings like this and podcasts like what you amazing women are doing, it's raising the eyelids. It's becoming a light in darkness to show people that you can change and not grow, because you could change for the worse, but you can't grow and not change. And so the idea is getting people to see the value and growth and personal development, the value in you working on yourself. There's a scripture in the Bible that said, and Luke 2:52, and Jesus both grew in wisdom, stature, favor with men and favor with God, which means that even Christ himself had to grow in some areas, which means that there were some changes that went on in his life. Well, guess what? There are going to have to be some changes in your life for you to go from point A to point B. And the key point is it's necessary.
Yeah.
It's necessary. And so creating an atmosphere where people can see the value. If there's an alcoholic, how can we show them that their life will be so much better? The value in putting down the bottle, the value and the respect that you have from your family, the value that they could see with their kids having another level of respect for them to change from this person to this person. The most amazing thing in the world is seeing a person with a made up mind, because the power of a made up mind can change literally this whole world. It can change the whole world. And so getting people to see the value in change, the value and you putting the work in, that's key. The value in putting the work in to become different, to go from one level to the next level. Let me tell you something. It's like I got this quote from Pastor Bill Winston, and I've been saying it for a long time now. I've been rich and I've been poor. Rich is better.
Yep. I've actually heard him say that one before.
Yeah, and rich is better. But you don't become financially independent or financially free without making a lot of changes. I had to make a lot of changes in my life in order to become financially free in my business. You know, when I started Ruby's, I thought all I needed was a good product. I thought all I had to do is man, we got 5 short ribs. Short ribs. Tender enough for a baby to eat them. Put your fork in and move the fork. The meat move with it just like that.
Yeah.
Fried catfish, fried to perfection. This fried chicken and this macaroni and green. We got a bomb. That's what we like to say, a bomb. And the idea is that it takes so much more than just having a good product. The best product don't always win. And so I can name 10 restaurants that got better cheeseburgers than McDonald's. None of those restaurants sell more cheeseburgers than McDonald's.
Yeah.
Because the best product doesn't always win. It takes a lot of change. It takes a lot of learning, a lot of growing, a lot of hard work, a lot of effort in order to move your life from one level to the next level. And you got to be locked into that. And so helping people to see that is creating a place where they can see the value. Until you get people to see the value of change, you're not going to motivate people to change. And so what we have to do, people like us, we have to create a vision of what change looks like. And that is what motivates people to want to change. We have to create something and say, hey, this is your life now. This is what your life could look like.
Yeah.
These are the things you could have in life. This is how your business could look if you make these adjustments. You know what I mean? Great leaders don't make excuses, they make adjustments.
I think for us, like, we definitely did some changes in our lives. Like a couple of years back, I did a lot of changes in my finances. Like, look, you know, maybe 2 people in my family are homeowners. You know, so I was like, look, I want to be a homeowner. This is what I'm going to do to change my finances in order to get to where I want to be. Once that goal is done, okay, now let's get going with this business. So, you know, it's kind of I'm going to keep making the changes in my life to make sure I get to the level that I want to be at the end of the day. So,
absolutely.
For me, it was like having, I heard someone say, I'm going to try to get this right because I'm bad with quotes.
Terrible.
But I heard somebody say you have to make your relationship with God public. So I would hold on to a lot of things. I wouldn't show people things that I was going through until I sat down and showed somebody my credit score, and that opened up a world for me, because it's like people have been through what you've been through. People can see the change that's necessary for you to make unless you kind of show it. So I think with us, with our friendship, we let people see the good and the bad, so they can see while you can have this amazing friendship, you know, we also, you know, argue sometimes. We also have disagreements sometimes. But I think it's important to show the good and the bad, so people can show, yeah, so you have to work hard to get there, but you can also kind of broadcast that there's a better side.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well.
Transparency, I think, is something that helps people change, because if you just hold all the secrets to yourself, or you act as if you've just always been in this great space, then that makes people think that it's unachievable.
Yeah.
But transparency and saying, hey, look, I messed up, or my credit was jacked up, and this is how I got it together, or these are the steps that I took, that's just like, that's motivation for someone who's maybe thinking like, I'll never get out of this situation or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, transparency. I can be very transparent on all things. Because I do feel like the way that I have, gotten to certain points in my life is by somebody else being transparent and giving me the blueprint.
Sure.
I'm very much like, if I could plug into a proven system, I'm willing to do that. So why would I not give the blueprint to someone else?
Yeah,
that's so smart.
Even like with our business, like we've met other people. They're like, how did you guys get a grant? We've given like sent out grant emails. Like, here, check out this grant for your business. You might qualify for this. So it's like giving. I think about that. You were telling us a story about someone who. They had a recipe for, what was it for? Cheesecake. And they want to give up the recipe.
Can you share that story?
Absolutely. So, I was mentoring a chef. And I mean, this guy was amazing. I mean, this guy, he could cook everything. He was just amazing. But he was broke, y'all. I'm talking about broke. And he got like 127 different cheesecakes. He do this jerk fried rice. I mean, it's like almost to die for. I mean, the guy was really, really good. And so in one of our sessions, we're talking about, how can I help him? How can I, inspire him to take, his gift to the next level? So he said, I don't want no restaurant. So, okay, that's fine. You don't necessarily have to have a restaurant. Catering business is a booming business, And he said, well, I don't want no, and he said, I don't want no restaurant. And one of the reasons why, I don't want nobody stealing my recipes. I said, okay. I said, well, let me try to help you with the recipe thing. Now, of course, we do have to do things that kind of govern, a security level of our things that we have. But like I told him, I know some chefs. I said, I know some chefs right now, and I know some personally. They are multimillionaires for selling their recipe. And I said, and you are broke trying to hold on to your recipe. I mean, guys, to be truthful, like I told him, any recipe, we have God's twin at our fingertips, which is called Google.
Yeah.
Any recipe that somebody really want, they can just Google it.
For sure.
And so, for you to try to hold on to it, it's only so much you can do when you hold everything into yourself. But when you give things away, now you become that. Look at the notoriety that you can get. I told him, look at the notoriety you can get just by being the inventor of this recipe. Just look at so many people who, when you go inside the grocery stores and you buy frozen dishes and you buy things that are already prepared, you can get into all type of other areas just because you're willing to let somebody. Most people, I told them, most people are not cooks anyway. So most people are not going to take your recipe and try to go open up a restaurant. That woman just want to cook it for her husband tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I mean? She just want to cook it for her husband tomorrow. And so now you...
Somebody married.
So the idea of just changing his mindset to get him to see that you could become a multi-millionaire just because you have the knowledge. But you got to be willing to give it away. And when you're able to do that and get your mind off of just saying, I got to hold everything in to me, I got to keep this all in for me, you can't help nobody. And you can only grow once you become more valuable. And so with his recipes being in his own head, he has no value to the marketplace. Until you become more valuable to the marketplace, till somebody looks at your brand, till somebody looks at you and say, I need you, then you have no value. And guess what? Your bank account is equivalent to the level of value that you add to the marketplace. And so that's one of the things that I try to get this guy and more people to understand, that if you're in a business like the restaurant business, there's so many more things you can do once you're giving things out than always keeping things in. So that was that story.
Yep. So before we go over to the next question, you got some sun behind you happening.
Oh, I'm
We
sorry.
gonna edit this out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Or we just want everybody to see his sunroof. So, how do you change things that were once necessary for your growth?
So I got a belief, and I teach people, never marry any system.
Okay.
Never be married to any system. So let's just talk about the restaurant industry, since that's an industry in, or even church ministry. There are things that would make you a millionaire. The same thing that make you a millionaire could be the same thing that put you in the poorhouse. And so there are certain things I always like to talk about. All of us been to Old Country Buffet.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I went to Old Country Buffet was 1996. No, that's not right. It was 1992. I was still at Washington Elementary School, and we took our eighth grade. So I guess it was 93. I think it was our eighth grade trip. Yeah, it was 93. Our eighth grade trip to Galena. We went to Galena, Illinois, for a trip. And coming back from Galena, we went to Old Country Buffet in Forest Park. I could not believe that there was a place I could have whatever I want. All you can eat, I can get as much as I want. I was so excited about it. And Old Country Buffet was the place. Everybody took their kids there. This was the place. Everybody who wanted to eat a lot of food, this was the place. You can get dessert and you can get dinner. You can get pizza and you can get chicken. You can get fries. You can get pizza. You can get everything you wanted. Everything you wanted, you get there. You did it. And I started to notice about 20-some years later, I was sitting inside of an Old Country Buffet in Ford City. And I said, wow, it looked the same that it looked at when I was in 8th grade. Same color scheme, same food, nothing changed. Pretty soon they was pretty much out of business.
Yeah.
Because when you will not adapt to change, there's a definition called leadership. Leadership, it is defined as the willingness and the ability to make a leadership change that will promote organizationally and personally. You have to be willing to catch in with what's going on in the world. You know what I mean? You know, when Colonel Sanders, when he made KFC, well, he made that in the time when working mothers had started working now. So they didn't have time to be in the kitchen cooking dinner. And so there was a greater need. Well, if Colonel Sanders was trying to establish KFC today, he may go out of business, because now everybody want to know about gluten-free. Everybody want to know about vegan. It's a different time. So what worked for you then does not mean it's going to work for you now. And so don't be married to any system, because you don't know when you're going to have to change. You don't know. You don't know. It's tremendous. Matter of fact, we're living in a world where Peter Drucker said that we have accelerated change. And so we're in this time, things are changing like this. Just can you imagine what Blockbuster could be now if they would have made the shift? But because they didn't make the shift, you don't hear Blockbuster. You hear Netflix now. You know what I mean? And so the same, it's so, I mean, this is good right here. we fall in love with the things that give us success.
Mm-hmm.
But Miles Monroe said that the greatest enemy to your potential is your past success.
Mm-hmm.
And so the things that got you some levels of success, sometimes those are the things that kill you. So it was needed at this time. This is what worked then. But always be open-minded to the point where you understand that the thing that worked yesterday could be the thing that kill you today. And if you will not shift, I'm here to tell you, if you don't make some changes, you're going to find yourself in some big trouble. Listen, so let me just tell a quick story real quick. I'm inside one of my stores.
Uh-huh.
And I get somebody walk in, and I was actually helping out a little bit. And somebody walked in, and we had this buffet line at our country club here, and it's looking good. I mean, we got all kind of food up here. And a man walked in and said, "Oh man, this looks good. I've never been here before. How does it work?" I said, "Okay, yeah, you start here, blah, blah, blah. You get a meat, 2 sides, cornbread, what have you." He said, "You got any vegan dishes?" I said,
Dun, dun, dun.
I said, "Well, no, I don't got no vegan dishes, but I got some vegetarian options." He said, "Hey man, this food looks really good, man, but I'm really trying to change my diet. So, what I'm saying, I'll catch you another time." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Went on, kept working and whatever. About an hour and a half later, a lady walked in. She's like, "Hey, how you doing?" She was like, "Do you guys do any vegan dishes here?" I said, "No, we don't. But I got these turkey wings over here, and they cooked with a lot of seasoning in there." She like, "They look great." She was like, "But I'm trying to change, my eating and different things like that." Now, as a leader, you could say, "Oh, well, forget them." You know what I mean? Go somewhere else. This is what I got. This is what I'm going to sell. But if you're a smart leader, you have to recognize when there's a time to make some shifts. So to me, it said, you better find a way to incorporate some vegan options, some healthier options in your business, because just because you're making money now and just because things are working today, if you don't make a shift into the way that the world is going, sooner or later you're gonna be old country buffet, and you're gonna be blockbusters.
Yeah.
Because if you marry a system and never make changes, eventually you're gonna start going out of business. So to answer your questions, that we have to get people to see that what works today may not work tomorrow, and you have to be open enough to change to be able to find out what changes need to be made in order to keep your life or your business going higher and not peaking out, and you start to go down on a downward spiral.
And those were some really good nuggets, because that point about success, like I've made $1 million, I've made millions doing this one thing. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep doing it
Exactly.
the
I'm
same
gonna
way.
ride the ship.
And
Yeah,
then
I'm
you
gonna ride.
start looking around like, wait a minute, am I a dinosaur?
And that's exactly what begins to happen. And so many businesses, and because they have a product, and because this once worked, this all, and that's the hard part, is that at one time it actually worked for you. This is the
Yeah.
thing, doing it this way, and that's even in religion and churches, some of the senior pastors, they just can't get with like doing this virtual preaching
Yeah.
online. But the pandemic, it opened our eyes to a whole nother world.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to force to keep doing things the old way, you're going to force yourself out of business.
Yeah.
If you're gonna keep forcing and you won't get with change, there's people who can teach you. And guess what? And things you don't know how to do, staff your weaknesses. You got to pay somebody to do it for you. You staff your weaknesses, because if you stay locked into the old way, it's like taking a gun, putting that one bullet in there, spinning the chamber, and every day you pulling the trigger to your life and to your business.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're gonna kill your own business. Why? Because you will not change. And see, most people, they resist change if and though change is worse than what they're already experiencing. Why are you resisting change? Like some people ain't doing good already. Some people business plan is not working anyway already, and so they're resisting change. They're resisting it. You can see it right before your eyes. The world is going in another direction. Your customers are telling you, we're looking for something different. Your husband is telling you, baby, I'm looking for something different. No, come on. Let me. If Lester would say, he would say real talk. There are certain there are certain times, even in your marriage, who I was yesterday is not who I was today. When I fell in love with you 10 years ago, I was a different person.
For sure.
I had a different mindset. I've continued to evolve. I have continued to grow. So I was in love with you on this level 10 years ago. But now I'm on this level. And if you have not changed, then you have become unattractive to me.
Mm-hmm.
You have become unattractive because my attraction has changed because I have changed.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to force people to like the old. We're trying to force people to like the you of yesterday. You can't force me to still be in love with something that I used to love just because I used to eat chitlins. I don't eat chitlins no more.
Ew.
You can't force people to be in love with the them of yesterday. We have to continue to evolve, and we got to continue to go to the next level. And you better watch the signs, because your customers, the people in your life, they will let you know when they are no longer into what you used to offer them. Now you could be bullheaded and say, well, you just gonna have to like me the way I am. I don't got to like you the way you are. I don't have to like your product. You know what I mean? I can go to another store. I can go to another business. I can order from somewhere else. I can go do something else. And so
No, wait. Now, are we still talking restaurants? Or are we talking, because you see, you do that. And see, you scratching your mustache right now. I just want to make sure we on the same page.
I'm talking about everything.
You sound very close.
It's everything, Shelly. Listen, it's everything, because change is in everything. You know what I mean?
What does one do when they're met with this? Because I love change. I love everything about it. I'm always seeking a place. Like, I love what Lester said last week or a couple weeks ago when he said he loves change. He looks for ways to change every day. And I know you're also big on change as well. What does one do when let's say I'm in a relationship and I'm in my change mode? What does one do when someone's stubborn and they don't want to change?
Yeah, that's
Should I go to another restaurant?
Well, that's a difficult question, because
you worked yourself into this one.
it's more of a difficult answer. It's not so much a difficult question.
Mm-hmm.
That's why this goes to being equally yoked, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we have to deal with, almost the root of the issue before we even get to that part. But just to tackle it a little bit, like if I'm in a relationship and I'm changing, I'm with somebody, are we talking married or are we talking just dating?
Look, Lawrence.
It's a little.
Let's talk marriage. Let's talk. We've already made it to the altar. We're here. We're loving each other. And I love change. I just want to change. And with that change, I'm growing. So I may see something in my mate that I'm like, well, come on along with this change with me. And, now we're there.
Yeah. So I think what has to happen so that we don't become offensive, in the relationship, because whenever you're just always, you need to change, 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 sometimes it becomes offensive.
Yeah.
And people start to fight against it just because you keep asking for it.
Yeah.
It's not that they don't want to change. They're just so sick of you telling them what to do, especially men. Men, we hate to be told what to do. Mm-hmm. And so what has to happen is that in that home, we must, whoever that is, person that's changed their life, we have to try to create a change culture and a change environment, a growth environment in that home, where when we got things going on that's always pushing us to do better. So, like, I mean, you may have to ask your wife or ask your husband, hey, let's join a mastermind group. Hey, on Wednesday nights, let's read this book together. Because instead of telling them exactly what to do, you want to almost create things that you do together that actually promote levels of change. You know, can we on Tuesday night, can it be book reading night for the family? You better believe some type of way doing some of the books that you're gonna pick out, because if it's a woman, I know women are very strategic anyway. So you better believe you're gonna pick books that's gonna say something to the levels of growth that you're looking for. Going to, instead of going to the movies, let's go hear certain people speak or something. So I think one of the things you do is, when you can't get somebody to change, because we have free will and we can't make anybody do something, I think we got to create avenues that presents growth in the home. And the way we start loving things that bring by change. We go places that bring by change. We go to church. We go hear certain podcasts. We go listen to certain speakers speak. We go to the museum. We do things that learning comes. And most of the time, when people get levels of growth, learning and stuff like that, they'll start to make certain changes on their own. The only issue with that, and this is a hard conversation, it's like what we talked about last week. The only issue with that is sometimes, Shelly, we have married the wrong people. And sometimes we have, and I know that's a tough thing to say, but sometimes we have yoked up with people who are not for our destiny. Now, watch this. Sometimes you can marry somebody that can cover you on the level you are, but can you cover me? Can you cover the me of 5 years from now?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
where are you going to be? Is a person going to be on the level? Well, the love and attraction will still be where it needs to be in the future. Because when I marry somebody, I'm not marrying them just for today. This is supposed to be to death do we part. And so, if you don't hook up with somebody who is excited or ambitious or serious about the vision, I always tell women, the first thing that you should ask a man when he asks you to marry you is not, do he love you? The first thing you want to know is, does he have a vision for the family?
I'm so glad that you brought that up. So like I'm in my growth state for dating. So I've decided, for me, what I want to do is really build my relationship with God. I want to take a step back, and I want to just reevaluate it, because love and marriage is definitely something that I want, but I want to do it the right way, right? So I'm taking this time, I'm getting closer to God, and I'm gonna let that be my walk. I think I'm building my list, though, right now, of things that I want to make sure that I ask my mate. So I want to ask you this question, but I want to tell you what my questions are. So far, one of my questions is gonna be, do you fear God, and how much do you fear God? So that's one. I got that from Thursday night.
Yes, Thursday.
And then my other question would be, what one thing about yourself do you want to change, and are you open to change? Because it's because it's so important to me. I want to know that person's answer to see how important.
Sure.
What are your well? First of all, I should say, are you married? Are you single? What's your life?
Yeah, no, I'm single. And so for me,
what would be your questions?
Well, yeah. So first of all, it would definitely be the God question. You know what I mean? Because for me, especially me being a senior pastor of a church, a woman who's going to be my wife, the first lady of the church, has to be somebody who is totally connected into the Lord. So that definitely would be my first question about their love for God. I have a little help because I'm single, but I'm divorced. I was married for a long time. And so sometimes failure becomes the biggest piece to your success. And so that would be one of my questions about their love and their fear for the Lord. And secondly, my question would be, how much of you are you willing to sacrifice for the goals that we have and also the goals that you have for your personal life, because I want somebody to be great in what they do as well, because although we become one, we both are still individuals.
Right.
And so because we're both individuals, I want to know whenever you want something, you set a goal, and then right after you set a goal, you got to ask yourself, what are you willing to give up to make this goal happen? So
Yeah.
I want to know the vision that they have for their life, but also how much are they willing to give up? Because everybody can talk. Want shows up in conversation. Expectation shows up in behavior. So, people can say whatever they want out of their mouth, but I want to know, what are you willing to give up so we can have this type of life? You know what I mean? And so that's one of the things that I would do. And so I think you're doing a great thing by asking those questions. My advice is that you find out a man's vision for his life and the vision that he has for a family, because what makes women are naturally really submissive. Men don't know that, but the way God made them is that way. They're only strong like that because they've had to be, because men have dropped the ball a lot of times inside of the home, and then the culture. And then the culture has done it too. Iron woman, hear me roar. You know what I mean? Saying, but I think that one of the things is that when people get married, I need to know, if I'm a woman, I need to know that you are a great decision maker.
Yes.
And the reason that is, you need to find out how they make decisions. Watch their life a little bit. How do they make decisions? Because if you're going to submit to a man, then you're submitting to the way he makes decisions. That's what you're submitting to, his decision making. And so I need to know that you are a good decision maker, because if I'm going to submit to you, and if I'm going to say, okay, you are the leader of this house, you are the leader of my family, my life, and my children, oh my God. If you are going to be the leader, then I need to know that you are sound in your decision making, or I'm not going to be able to submit. And so some men are upset because they say, man, my she don't submit to me. It's not that she really don't want to submit. It's really that she just don't trust your decisions.
Yeah.
And so when you say we're going to go left, she like, oh God. Well, she don't trust that you're gonna do the right thing about it with the money. She don't trust you're gonna make the right decision about the family. She don't know what you're gonna do, so it makes her hard. She had to always ask questions. She had to always say, well, why don't you think about this? Because she truly don't trust your decision making. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so in dating relationships, you got to find out where a person is in their decision making, and do they have a vision for their life? Because without a vision, the people perish. If you don't have a vision for a marriage, a vision for a business, a vision for whatever, eventually it's going to be something you quit, because passion comes with the vision. And without the vision and without the passion, when things get hard, because things will get hard, things will get tough. And when they get tough and when they get hard, you're just going to quit, because you're going to have nothing to sustain it once it gets started.
I like that. I like both of y'all questions. For me, it'll be pretty much the same thing. One is trust your decision making, and then 3 would be, your vision. Like, what is your vision for life? Period. Yeah. So I think those are 3 great things. You kind of touched on all 3 in there. So you want to add anything?
I hope not to be interviewing anybody for
you will not be interviewing anyone.
So, you all good.
But I think those are great questions to ask. I mean, I asked 1,000 questions.
Yeah.
Before agreeing to marry my husband, but even in dating situations, I was the type of person who would ask a lot of questions, some which that guys would say were hard questions, like in the first date or whatever. But I'm like, we might as well, call a thing, get it out here now. Like, how many children do you have? How many mothers of said children are there?
How many people who say they got kids?
Right, potential. Right. How many possibles we got out there?
Absolutely.
Like all these things are like questions that in this day and age, you have to ask. Maybe in years ago there weren't questions, but I mean, I think you should ask whatever you want to know. If you want to know whether your mate had experimented with the same sex or something like that, ask. I mean, I think if that's something you want to know, only way you're gonna know is if you ask. And if somebody,
it could come up later,
right? If they choke on the question, or if they, start stuttering or whatever, or if they say that's, too invasive, you shouldn't be asking me that. You know what I mean? Then you take that and do with it what you will. So I'm all about asking all the questions.
And it's the perfect time to do so.
Yeah, I think women sometimes shy away from asking questions because they feel like, I don't want to scare them off, or I don't want to come on too strong, or.
But that's exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, all the things. Like, let it be known that I'm not playing games.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that when in the beginning, especially for women, and like Shelly, you say you in this new place of you and God and dating, stuff like that. One of the greatest things that you can do is set a standard.
Mm-hmm.
You set a standard. You change your standards. You change your life. A lot of people who have not had success in relationships is because their standard is too low, or they don't have a standard. And so when you set a standard for relationships, as we didn't get to relationships, but when you set a standard for relationship, what you do is you weed out everybody who's not willing to live up to your expectations. You know what I mean? And so when you set a standard that this is the type of person I am, this is what will be in my life. I'm gonna love the Lord. I look to have a Christian home. I'm an entrepreneur. This is the things that I expect. Right away, I sit back like this. If he ain't ready, you ain't got to worry about him wasting your time. You ain't got to be going out with them dates with him. You ain't got to be sitting on the phone for 2 hours, all that kind of stuff. Because in his mind, let's just say if you say I'm not having sex until I get married. Mm-hmm. What you just helped yourself so much, because some guys were only there for the sex.
Right.
You know what I mean? So guess what? Even if that, I say, tell them that even if that ain't what you own, tell them that anyway. You know what I mean? Because you'll get to see that, okay, this person is only here for the wrong reason, and start to weed the garbage out. Mm-hmm. See, the cream rises to the top. Yeah. So a great guy, as the challenges get harder, they increase their abilities. They rise to the top. And so when you set standards about your life, even in business, your employees, you guys are about to launch your business, set high standards for your employees. You know what I mean? Because give them something to work up to. You know what I mean? And then the people who don't want to work up to that standard, they'll quit, they'll fall off. And you ain't got to invest all that time into the wrong people. Without standards, you invest too much time into the wrong people.
Yeah.
Whether that's a relationship or a business. So you set high standards, and people are gonna say, I ain't gonna do that, or I'm willing to work up to doing that. And so set standards, and then communicate those standards in your business, communicate those standards in your personal life, and then you'll see that everybody who's not supposed to be a part of your life, they will fall off. And guess what? They're gonna fall off quickly. Because they're not going to be willing to put the work or the effort into it. So set those standards, and you'll see a great. You won't waste a lot of time on the wrong people when you got high standards.
Yep.
So that is a hard talk. So with that, I have a segment for you called Hard Talks.
All right.
What we're gonna do is bring up some of your hashtag hard talks. Why do great sports teams, great music groups, and even great ministry teams break up in our culture? It's normally because of egos and money. Know that if we drop our egos and the focus of money, we can make more money together than alone. I'm looking for partners, not competitors. You could be the boss, just direct deposit me.
So that is so very true.
Wait, before you answer this, you post something like, woo, like sometimes I'll be like, let me screenshot this and save it and put it in my notes. Like, when you post it, are you going through those things?
Not always.
Okay.
No. So a lot of times what I'm doing is I'm always trying to find content that will be a blessing to people. And so normally it's not me personally going through something, but I love growth. So I'm always studying. I'm always looking for new information. And most of the time when I post something that smacks me, and I'm like, woo, you know what I mean? And now sometimes I do. Sometimes it is personal. Sometimes there are things that I've learned or something that I just faced or whatever case may be. So sometimes, but not all the time. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. But I'm always just trying to put content out that will bless people, other people. And I said, well, you know what? If it bless me, I'm sure it'll bless other people.
Yes, because sometimes I've thought that the posts have been about me, so I'm like,
What?
yeah. And I'm like, oh
Shelly.
God, is he trying to tell me something?
No,
But if it is about me, just end it with Shelly.
no, Shelly. No. No, I'm not that type of guy. I ain't going to social media with a personal
I like that. That's good.
But you know, that's just like being when the pastor is on the pulpit. Like you probably
I don't do that.
People say like, are they talking directly to me? Because
Yeah.
it's your own conviction.
If he Taylor Made sometimes, like, wait a minute.
Like, I know you don't be
right. But sometimes it's like if the shoe fit, wear it, or if it sting a little bit, then maybe that's for you to make a change or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
It could be God inspired, and Lawrence had nothing to do with it. You know, he just saying what God has given him to say, but it hits you anyway. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, some of them I'm like, wait a minute.
No, absolutely. Now with this post here, there's a guy you guys know years ago, but he ran for president, and I love this quote. They said, a parole, and they asked he had a $1 billion company in Texas called Parole System, Ross Perot, and he has a quote. They said, what do you accredit to the success of the parole systems? He said, I hire people that are smarter than me. I hire people that are smarter than me. So I come up with this quote, and I've talked this many times, that in your organization, develop and train people to be as good or better than you, where they are able to leave you, but treat them so good they never will.
Right.
And so there are times where we are better together, to be actually honest. And if we could come together and put our egos to the side and understand that if we all come together and say, we got to go, let's just use ministry, for instance. I have pastor friends, and 5 or 6 of us can all have congregations under 100 members. Well, instead of you struggling over there and I'm struggling over here, we all trying to get more members. We're all trying to gain finance. We're all trying to gain influence. Well, why don't we just all come together and build one thing big? And then once it's big, if you just feel like you just want to be the senior pastor and you're the big one, well, I'm sure then we'll have enough money and resources where we can go and launch another location. And you can be there and be the number one guy, be the one in charge. But when you left, now you're not doing this on your own. You can actually go start this church. We can send you over there with $100,000. We can send you over there and buy the business. Now you got money to pay a high level musicians. Now you can pay somebody like a Shelly to come in and do every graphics and all that kind of stuff and run all that kind of stuff. You can pay. You can have a pastor of evangelism on staff, because the time of volunteer help is almost gone. You know what I mean? And so now you can get so much more done because you have the resources to do it. But we all came together and built one big thing. And now we can all go out. Everybody want to go on their own, but the egos and being the boss and all that, it gets in the way. But if we can drop all of that, yes, there got to be somebody in charge. We know that. You got to have a leader. That's just called order. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to have a leader. You got to have somebody who leads the direction. You got to have that. But if we can manage to put our egos to the side and come together and build something real big, once you build something big, the big thing is the open door to all the other little things that you want to do. You know, to be a financially free, you need about 7 streams of income. It don't mean that all the other streams are making what the one big one is made. But how many of you know that if you had about 6 other streams of income where you were making an additional $2,000 or $3,000 a month in 6 other ways, and you had additional $20,000 a month coming into your home, it would make a big difference.
Yeah.
It'll make a big difference. And so I think that sometimes we need to come together and we need to sit at a table and we need to figure out what can we come together. You can still have y'all can still have y'all business. I can still have my rubies. Y'all can still, somebody else can still have their business over here. While that's working, let's all of us come together outside of what we already got going on. And let's say, what can we build together? Because it'll move faster because we're bigger and stronger together. You don't have to give up what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Love what you're doing. But if you have more streams of income and you have more people, skilled talent around you, you could build something real big that could sustain. It could possibly become the thing that sustains what you already got going on. Because in every business, there are slow seasons. And so when your business, the thing that's paying your bills is slow, wouldn't it be great to have something else that you have a stream coming from that will sustain that until your customers, clients, and everything go up? So when I made this post, I was trying to get people to see that if we could come together, you ain't got to give up what you're already doing. But especially as African Americans, if we could come together and build something together, people that you love, people that you see doing things together, let's get in the room together. Let's hash out some ideas. I've always believed that the best ideas are birthed out of the best idea are birthed out of many ideas. And guess what? The best idea win. If the 4 of us sit at the table, all of us are leaders, we all gonna have ideas. But guess what? Deonna's idea may be a little bit better than the rest of ours. So guess what? No ego, no pride. Flat out, she got the best idea. We're going Deonna's way. You know what I mean? And so, if we can lose our egos and who the boss and who's in charge, we can make more money together, because when we together, we're bigger, we're stronger. There's a law called the law of significance. The law of significance says that 1 is too small of a number to do anything great. It takes multiple people. It takes multiple ideas. It takes multiple effort. It takes more hands to do something big. So let's drop the egos. Let's drop the stubbornness and all that. Let's get in the room together and figure out how we can build something big with the knowledge we have about credit and finances and leadership and our expertise, the things that we're great in, the talented things. Let's get it, Shelly. We talked about this before. Let's get all of us in the room of leaders together. When you get 10 leaders in a room together, no telling what we can come out. The next big thing is in that room.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's where I was going with that post.
Got another one here for you. Now, this wasn't a hashtag hard talk, but it should be. God is not preparing a blessing for you. He is preparing you to be the blessing or for the blessing. It's waiting on you.
Absolutely. So the way that God works is that everything God is going to do, he's already done. And so every blessing that he has for your life it already exists. And so if you're wondering why I don't have what I've prayed for or what I have envisioned for my life, it is only because you're not prepared. God, the universe, whatever you believe in, is never willing to lavish its goods on unprepared people. God never blesses you beyond the capacity of your organization and your structure. And so he's not going to take a gallon and pour it into a cup. Why? It's going to waste. And so if God will give you things too soon, you will waste it. I'm sitting inside of a nice car right now. Well, guess what? I'm not going to take these keys and give it to my 17-year-old daughter. Not ready for it yet. She's not ready for it yet. Guess what? There's nothing wrong with the father, and there's nothing wrong with the car. It's just that she's not ready to handle this blessing yet. And so what I have to do is the other day, I took my 17-year-old daughter to drive on the expressway for the first time. I had to teach her how to drive. I gotta help her, my kids. I got to talk to them about their mentality. I had to tell them the good and the bad about themselves. I had to get them ready. So that's what God is doing for us. He's not getting a blessing ready for us. The blessing is already there. They make money every day. All the money you want already exists. Everything you want a husband, the husband that you're going to marry already exists. The wife that you want to marry already exists. It already exists. But are you ready for what already exists? And so what God is doing is trying to get you to understand that the only reason you don't have what you want is because there's certain levels of maturity, spirituality that he's still trying to grow you up to so you can handle what he's going to give you. Because when he give it to you, he don't want you to spoil it.
And I think that is a hard talk because a lot of times, and I may have been guilty of this, where it's like, well, I prayed for this, and why is this not happening for me? And I did all this, and it's like I wasn't ready. And I know I wasn't ready.
Not ready.
Hindsight, it's like I wasn't ready for any of it. So it's like you sit and you do the prayers. It's like, where's your work toward the
That's
thing?
right. Yeah, that's right. Most people are not willing to put in the work to get what they're asking for. And so God, he's not going to waste his blessing. He knows the bad thing about it. We can't fool God. We can't fool him.
Something that you think that you really need in your life, it might be God saying no. Not only not a matter of you being ready, but that's not it. I got something else. I got something better, something bigger.
Absolutely.
Or that person you think he's fine, but
And fine only goes so far.
Right, it only goes so far. We know his skin deep. He all jacked up on the inside. You don't want that problem.
Right.
Absolutely. So you definitely don't want to. You don't want that to. You don't want looks to be the end all be all.
Mm-hmm. All right, I got one more, and then we'll let you go.
Come on with it.
God told #Hard Talks. God told me that this is a season to make some drastic changes in our lives. Note the next thing he told me: do it overnight. God has given us so much mercy that some of us think we have forever to live any type of way. This won't be for everyone, but for those that are really hungry for a new life and more of God's blessings, I'm going to tell you like he told me, do it overnight. Make the changes now. Wake up free tomorrow.
Yeah, so this was this week. Yeah, so I was in prayer, and just seeking God about my own life, and different things in my life. And there were some things that the Holy Spirit told me that this is not negotiable. And there are certain things in your life. You know how you tell your kids to do something? Mm-hmm. A parent said, I ain't gonna tell you no more.
Right.
Certain things, and I think this is a season where God is trying to move the kingdom of God into the blessings because Jesus is coming back. Mm-hmm. And so he's trying to expand, and he wants to do some things through you. But you're holding up the movement of the kingdom because you won't move in obedience to what God is telling you to do. And so he showed me Isaiah chapter 1, verse number 19. He who is willing and obedient shall eat the good of the land. I said, okay, Lo, you be disobedient, you're going to suffer. You be obedient, you're going to be blessed. I'm obedient, I'm hungry. I want to eat the good of the land. He told me, listen, do it now. You don't have time to think this one out. Mm-hmm. This is something that I need you to change now. And I believe that sometimes all of us have times in life where God tells us, all right, enough is enough. Change this now. We're done with this season. Mm-hmm. And you say, well, I just want to change just like that. Do it now. Because the blessing that comes behind the obedience is going to be so much better than any pleasure you got from doing whatever you was doing that was disobedient.
Yeah.
So much better. So that is a hard talk right there. And because when God said change now, you be like, whoa, right? Like right now, change.
Right.
Yeah, like no, this is a time for a change. I ain't playing with you about this no more. Don't do that no more.
Yeah.
So that was that kind of week for me. That it's like, okay, it's time to move it to another level. And God showed me some things that in obedience, I'm gonna tell you guys this. He said, when you obey, he said, you're gonna tap into your superpowers. I said, my superpowers? He said, I'm gonna give you your superpowers once you obey me. I was like, what superpowers? And he revealed to me later on through another pastor. I was in a conversation. I told him what God told me. I said, what's my superpowers? He said, your superpowers is the favor of God.
Yeah.
He said, everything that you touch is going to be favor on it. Everything that you want to do. He said, you think your business is blessed now? You think your ministry, all this kind of, he said, that ain't nothing. He said, when you operate in obedience to God, he gives you his favor. Now watch this. Listen, I'm going to say this, I'll be done. God's favor is a result of something you do or something you are. And God's favor is his advantages and his assistance. If you want God's assistance and his advantages in your life, on your business, on your marriage, with your kids, then you have to get it through something you do or who you are. And so when he asks you to obey, the obedient kid is always the one that gets the extra blessing. And so I had to make a decision. I said, that hit me. Now, Shelly, that was a personal one right there. It hit me. And I said, just like he told me, I'm going to tell y'all, do it overnight. Wake up tomorrow free. Your whole life can change when you walk in obedience and alignment to the Lord Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I think that's an excellent note to end on.
Excellent note to end on. Man, that was a good one. Well, we thank you so much for your time. This was such a good conversation. We glad we finally got you. It's like, come right there early. And you already know.
Right.
I told Shelly, just pick the time and the day I was going to do it. I ain't going to look on the calendar. And I've been supposed to be doing it, but so I got a last minute call that I had to do something. And what I said, well, you know what? I told Shelly, make the time and call, and I'm going to make it happen. I'm not going to hold off. Just tell me when, and I'm going to make it happen.
So invitation is always open. We hope you come back.
Absolutely.
We definitely want to collab with you guys. Your Thursday nights.
Absolutely.
Tell people more about your Thursday nights.
So Thursday nights, the Lord let me do something different. It's our midweek service. And normally, traditionally, the pastor get up and teach. You know what I mean? But the Lord started showing me that I have so many gifted people that's a part of our ministry. And I'm not the only one with insight and revelation. I'm not the only person who have had experiences. And so it was impromptu, to be honest. I got there on a Thursday. I got ready to teach. And some said, bring the other pastors up. I just obeyed. I put three other chairs on the stage, gave them mics, and I had told them initially that we were going to preach about faith all together. But somebody go up, the church do it. One preacher go up and do 7 minutes. Another preacher come up and do 7 minutes. Somebody else go. I said, no, let's do it all. Let's sit down. Let's make it different. Mm-hmm. Let's be calm. Let's just be in a conversation. Throw your arm up. And let's just talk just like we would be talking if we was at the crib.
Yeah.
And let's so Thursday night is more of real conversations. Mm-hmm. And it's the experience and the stories of men and women of God that have been through the tough times, and they're able to help people with their revelations and also with their experiences. So it's been dynamic. You can ask questions. It's interactive. You can ask questions. We're live on Facebook, and it's just an amazing time. We have food there. So it's all about fellowship, and we talk about change. This is something that, you have to change. You can't be married to a sister. I would love to get up there and do my little preaching and teaching, but it's not all about me.
I sometimes see you stand up and I'm like, oh. I said, just don't put the podium in front of you.
Sometimes it's hard to sit there because you know what I'm saying. Sometimes I got to get up. I got to. But you know, it's a man. I feel so good about it. You know, I love to see powerful women.
Yeah.
I love what you ladies are doing because so we always try to have a woman perspective up there. I always try to have a woman's perspective because as men, we don't know everything you guys feel and everything that you go through, and that helps us. When I'm sitting there listening to you women talk, and I'm listening to the women we put on the panel, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. And it helps me understand. So it's men who are watching, and it helps us understand why you guys are the way you are, why you say things, why you do things. So we like to have a woman's perspective on stage at all times. And I really feel like this is going to be a really, really big thing.
I think one of the things that you guys are doing that I absolutely love, I think you're giving people another look at how to view the church. You know what I mean? And you and similar to the story that you told about Old Country Buffet and even the cheesecake guy, I think you're giving people another way to say this is the path. Like if you invite Christ into your life, this is great. This is great for you. But it even kind of looks like you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You guys are young, you're African American, you know, it feels really good to see people that look like you doing what you guys are doing. So you're doing absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's very much needed. It's like, you know, I think growing up, you have an idea of you know what church is. I went to Second Baptist my whole life, so you know how that church was. So you have an idea of what church is. So seeing something like this fresh, is new, it's inviting when everyone's sitting down in the panel and just talking, and you still getting the word, you know, in a different way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just a format change, but not a change in the overarching message. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Now give our people the address.
I saw Kingdom Citizens International Ministries on the west side of Chicago because the west side is the best side. 325 South on California. Make your way there. We have service at 8 a.m. on Sunday mornings, and on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Meet us there. And we'll be so happy that you made it.
And then after church, you could go where?
You go to Ruby Soul Food.
All right.
You can go get you some soul food. We have numerous locations throughout. If you're looking for a more dine-in, 18348 South Pulaski. We actually got 2 locations on Pulaski. We have one on the west side, 3944 West Chicago Avenue. Riverdale location 201 West 144th, 11028 South on Halsted. We also have a location in the River Oaks Mall as well. So find one of these locations and sit down and get you to some good old soul food. Short ribs, tender enough for a baby to eat. Move the pork, meat move with it just like that. Fried chicken, smothered pork chop, smothered chopsticks, turkey wings and dressing, greens, collard greens, and mustard and turnips, cabbage.
Wow.
And what you got new there?
Huh?
Breakfast as well?
And we do have breakfast at our Riverdale location, 201 West 144. So if you love shrimp and grits, chicken and waffles, salmon, croquettes, rice, with a little alligator syrup, you want to find your way over to Riverdale. Yeah, we're gonna be bringing a lot of events to the Riverdale location, live bands, and football season is here. And the Bears will be playing tomorrow, and I solicit your prayers because I'm a diehard Bears fan, and we got to take those 49ers down tomorrow. We're gonna take the fields. Yeah.
Right before, I'm so happy we got you. So football season has started, right?
Football season started. Yeah.
You had a good time.
Yeah. No, the season starts tomorrow. I mean, actually, the football season started Thursday, and you know I was on that panel like. And so, for all the men who watch, like, if you come to Kingdom Citizens, hey, we're out by 9:30, so you still got home to get something to eat and make it home for football on Sunday.
Yeah. I heard that. Thank you so much, Lawrence, Pastor Lowe.
Yes.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm honored. Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
Yeah,
Anytime
it's the first of many conversations.
That's right.
Yeah, we want to bring you back. We want to dive into these.
Please do.
Stuff, and we want to ask you about the hills too.
Oh, yeah, why your feet don't hurt.
Oh, I want to talk about the hills. Believe me, I want to talk about them.
Okay,
all right, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was a great combo.
It was.
So we definitely enjoyed Pastor Lawrence joining us. So glad you guys could join us.
Absolutely.
On another episode 17.
Episode 17.
Yes. So lots of fun. And we're going to leave you guys with the author of the book. Don't forget.
Yes. September 29th.
I have it here. Tanya's Journey to Forgiveness. Forgiveness. Tanya's Journey of Forgiveness. Sorry. I'll make her Tanya. Tanya's Journey of Forgiveness. The author is Jacqueline Stewart. Yes. Anywhere you can buy books. And we have this outro here for you from the author. She'll be with us live on the 29th. You guys could check in, comment on the book, because I'm sure you've been and read it by then.
Yes, ask her questions, so we can make sure we get all the questions answered. And, be involved, because we want you guys to be just as much of the podcast as we are sitting here. So. Yeah, you are Brew Crew. Yeah. So check this out, y'all, and talk to y'all later. Keep it brewing.
Hello, everybody. I'm writer Jacqueline Stewart, and I'm super excited to be right here on What's Brewing Sis podcast. I first want to thank you ladies so much for taking the time to read my book, and not just that, but for sharing the story of Tanya's journey of forgiveness with your community. This is a story that encompasses losing love, healing, forgiveness, self-discovery, friendship, and finding love again. I want you to take time to read it and then join me right back here on September 29th.